Dr. Omololu Olunloyo, April 9, 2025, Part 4. Reflecting on my dad's life, many things, many stories. I'm not representing any other child. I'm representing myself and my own children. There were times when our mom and dad would tell us to send our children home so that we can take a break, we can work properly. I had to go to Baghdad, Iraq with NBC. I was covering the war in 2003, and I remember sending my son home, the youngest. And before that, in the early millennium, I sent my oldest son home, possibly like late 90s, early to mid-late 90s. When I sent my child home, my mom and dad were fighting again, and what did he have to do with? By the time my child came back to America, he was 2.5 years old, 3, and he didn't talk anymore. My son did not talk anymore. My son was okay when he went to Nigeria. He couldn't talk anymore. My son did not talk till he was 14, but the white people will have a word for it. That's when they said he was autistic, autism. He has a speech delay. I heard that for years. Then I heard he has autism. Kino she saw mommy go to in America. Timo send mommy losile. What did they do to my child? My father took my son to a ritualist with Ronke. Ronke, kilo saw for me. He wasn't speaking properly. So our Lord below saw the traditionalist. Mi ò rán kó gbọ́ ọmọ mi lọ sọ́dọ̀ traditionalist Adérónkẹ́ ó gbọ́ ọmọ mi lọ sọ́dọ̀ traditionalist ọmọ mi ò sọ̀rọ̀ mọ́ wọ́n á diagnose ọmọ mi fún autism. For 14 years ọmọ mi wá become very violent. He now started talking at 14 years old. He said, "Mommy, for the first time at 14 years old, I dealt with autism all my life. I dealt with all what Anyton went through all my life because you took my dad and my son to a ritualist." That is how I dealt with autism. The story of that you will see in write-ups on my Facebook at the end of the day. It was like you had no trust anymore. As I'm saying my story, I'm not representing anybody. I'm representing myself and what happened to me and what damaged my life. I lost numerous jobs. There will be pharmacies where I'll be working. I was an award-winning pharmacist. I got an award from my governor, my mayor, my county executive, and the U.S. President Clinton. There will be jobs that I will be at, and they will call me to come and pick my son up from school because he was going violent. He had profound autism. But Allah, tell me, bad Rasi. No, Jacob, you survived, lady. My son is 38 years old now. Aside from the fact that the man that I had the boy for did not even accept my child or even come up until that boy was 34 when I called him out. That's Babs Ogwande, the vice president of the NBFF, Nigerian Basketball Federation. You know that story. I worked hard for Annie. I did so much for Annie. I spent time and money. And I couldn't work as a pharmacist anymore. This is what made me go to study public relations and then later journalism. Because I couldn't keep a pharmacy job because I was raising a child that had a disability. A child that was perfectly fine before he went to Nigeria. I started volunteering myself in schools. I'll be going to schools every week to go and talk to students about drugs. If you thought to nominate me for award, that word can't decay. I will have dinner with the governor, the president, everything, and get my green card in 24 hours because I was an alien of exceptional ability. That is my green card, NIW, National Interest Waiver. I lost everything. I had to come back to Nigeria. I could not take care of my child. I had to give custody to the state. I built a 5-bedroom house. I did not enjoy it, all because of my dad. And my mom will come to America saying she's coming to help me. She's coming to do this, coming to do that. Mommy, no, Shogun. My mother would pile all kinds of charms into my house and I didn't know. Remember when I told you that don't let your family come and stay with you when you're abroad? My mother would be writing prayers in front of me in little papers. She would fold it together. She would add charms. She would put it behind the picture on the wall. I found everything when she was gone. Kini mo ṣe fún yín? Kini mo ṣe fún yín? Baba Olunloyo àti ìyá Olunloyo, kini mo ṣe fún yín? The same Tokunbo Aboderin tó sọ̀rọ̀. Don't she apologize for saying her father had sex with me, but the same person, she did it on live video. She was sincere. She was just mad because I said that Jide Kotoko was a black widow when all his wives were dying. But that is too extreme. Ajimobi was angry. He wanted them to arrest her if she ever steps into the country. At the end of the day, Esabod said it best. What did she say? She said, "Òun ló ní star nínú gbogbo wọn. Wọ́n dẹ̀ fẹ́ pa star yẹn rẹ́. I don't believe I'm the one that had the star. Tayo had the star. They maimed Tayo. They maimed him. Because even with everything that happened with Tayo, my mother said she heard a bird on that night before we traveled. Wọ́n ní kòwé náà ń pè. Tó bá ń dún èèyàn kan fẹ́ kú nìyẹn. If that bird is making noise, that means somebody's about to die or have a disaster. They found a python behind our house. They found a huge python in my Molete compound. Daddy was actively in juju. Then he pushed it to his mother. They took Alaja out of her room and they excavated the whole floor. When they took the floor out, they found charms, snakes, everything under the ground. Yes, it happened. Yes, there are videos. My father ran to the chief imam, ran to the archbishop. The religious leaders showed up in the house and they saw it with their own eyes. And that's when he moved my grandmother to live somewhere else. The same Molete house today, Seyi Makinde renovated it for 100 million. Daddy had me kidnapped and mommy pushed out of the house with 20 thugs that morning. They came to abduct us if we didn't leave the house. In the middle of 2015, Daddy, April 6, 2015. Daddy, April 6, 2015. There are when you go later, you can kidnap because baby lost me, because me. So I don't be lost me too. See me on wash up. I was naked. I had my periods. Blood was dripping on my legs. It reminded me of the Ikorodu nightmare. I had to go. They had guns, knives. They took my iPad. They took my phone. I lost all my devices and I walked into a car with kidnappers who drove me out of my compound, and I saw my dad in his car sitting near the house and watching to make sure they did the job well. You pushed us out of the house. Mommy went to live in Ikolaba. All of us had to go, tire me, everything. And then when I was released from that hospital, I went to join them. And Daddy, you took possession of Molete house. Why? Because you wanted to move in there with Ronke. That house was idle for 1 year. Idle for 1 year. Daddy Ferrin, Komole. Daddy wanted to bury snakes, cows. The neighbors saw my father burying a cow at night. He did not know that he gave birth to an investigative journalist. One of the neighbors there said they were burying a cow on the ground at night. That is a ritual thing. Daddy wanted to do something in that compound. That's why he had to tell us to leave. No one lived in there for a year. And then later on, it's now the beautiful, posh, nice 100 million naira renovation that Seyi Makinde did for the house. That is the house Ronke is sitting in now. I watched Ronke yesterday taking condolence visits from Debo. Debo Ogundoyin, Tina's son. Ironically, the same day I had a baby is the same day Tina had a baby. My autistic son, Tom Bayeje, the same day Timi Obi Omoyen, no one be Debo. Ni Tina be Debo. If I remember very well, Tina is dead now. Mrs. Ogundoyin had that boy on the 17th of February, 1987. That's the same birthday as my oldest son, my 38-year-old autistic son. He's autistic, he's struggling, he's doing security guard. Debo is in Nigeria, he's the speaker to the House of Assembly. I want my elevate other people. Mommy now started shouting. She would call her friends, Ojo Alakbi, Ojora, Toyin Ojora's mother. Toyin Saraki is what you know her as, Toyin Ojora's mother. She will call Florence Saraki. That one is dead now. Bukola and Bemi's mother. She will say, she will be reporting my dad to them. Daddy, don't you see what Dr. Olushola Saraki did for his children? He empowered them. That's what they call empowerment. Parents are supposed to empower. Bemi went to the Senate. Bemi went to the House. Bukola went to the governorship. Bukola went to the Senate. Bukola was president. You can't compare yourself to everybody, but look at what they're doing for their children. Is there a politician in Nigeria that does not empower their child to go into government? You tell me. Part 5 is coming. Okay? You tell me. But my dad did nothing for us. He just used us for power, his own.